Hey, everybody. Welcome back. It's me, Nova Nebula, and thank you for joining me today on This Is Why I'm Not Invited. I wanted to bring us back. And what I mean by back, I'm talking about the spiral of the devil life that I was talking about earlier in the season. You know the one. The place where you juggle personas like flaming knives, where one wrong move could singe your reputation or your relationships. It almost happened. And what I mean by it was that last Thursday at work, I almost introduced myself to a colleague as Nova. Not some joke. This isn't a metaphor. I am being completely honest. When I turned around to introduce myself to this new person at work, I extended my hand and was literally about to say, "Hi, I'm Nova. Nice to meet you." Just about the time that Nova was about to leave my mouth, my brain did a full stop, and I'm pretty sure it looked like I was having some sort of episode or a seizure to the new person at my job. So that's also fun. In that brief moment where my brain had that pause before saying my stage name, my stomach literally fell to the pit of my feet. My heart decided to audition for a drumline, and again, my brain literally just stopped. Like, there was this brief second of abort, abort, stop talking, stop talking. And then there was just like a weird silence because I didn't know what to say, but I automatically stopped myself from saying the wrong name. In that split second, that almost, that tiny crack is the pulse of living two lives. And if you've ever done this, if you've ever really juggled personas, you know exactly what I mean. Let me give you a little bit more information about my almost slip up at my vanilla job. I was literally standing in the corner of the conference room, minding my own business, on the computer, downloading new software, getting papers ready for the presentation later on, doing all the things that were required, but completely minding my own business. When one of my current colleagues brought in a new hire and said, "Hey, I would like to introduce you to the new person of this department." In that moment, they gave me a huge smile. They took a step forward and then they offered me a hand for a solid handshake. Now, this is where everything started to go right. I made eye contact. I gave a really big smile. I extended my own hand, grabbed their hand, shook it, and said, "Hi, my name is N." Yeah, that's the literal sound that came out of my mouth. I literally felt the N before my brain said, "Absolutely not," and full stopped me. And I'm very grateful for that. But in that same account, again, I'm pretty sure it looked like I was having some kind of religious fever because the person whose hand was holding gave me a really uncomfortably awkward look with wide eyes, which I have to figure out how to smooth that one over. Because now not only have I met the new person, but it looks like I don't even know my own name. My brain completely betrayed me. As I was about to say my name, my brain was like, "Say Nova." And the scary part was that I almost did. My mouth opened like it was testing the waters, feeling the rhythm of risk, and then it just slammed shut. I could literally hear and feel my teeth just like chomping together. That one microsecond felt like exposing everything. It would have been like letting air out of a balloon that you've just been grasping and gripping onto too tightly during the entire party. Wondering if anybody noticed my weird, silent, I guess, sounds. Like, I don't even know. Like, my mouth just made sounds. It was really awkward. My other coworker looked at me, asked me if I was okay. It wasn't even smooth. Okay. I wish I could say that it was like, like a smooth thing that I could just be like, like it didn't happen. It happened. It was big. It was noticeable. I didn't know what to do, but at least I didn't say my name was Nova, so that's a small win for me. I didn't give away my stage name, but now I feel like an idiot, and I'm gonna have to live with that for the next few weeks. I honestly can't believe that I froze the way that I did. It was terrifying because in that moment, the mask that I have so carefully crafted and curated and made perfect for my professional world, my vanilla life, it almost cracked. And it was terrifying. And somehow it didn't feel as big as it should have. Like, okay, my name is Nova. Where would we have gone from there? This incident also was a really big reminder that I live in two different worlds. And in this one moment, the two of them almost came crashing into each other. And it would have been my own fault. At first, I felt panic. Like the panic definitely kicked in. My body kind of went into overdrive. I started to breathe a little faster. My eyes got a little glazed over. It was like somebody pulled the fire alarm, but the fire alarm was inside of your head. Your mind scrambles. Like you're trying to just patch that gap and figure out how to seal the crack before it actually leaks. You realize it's not just about a word or a name or a moment. It's about identity. That small slip threatens to undo all of the careful curation of the mask that I've worn or the mask that you wear. And we wear them so eloquently, so intentionally. Yet, that panic, the adrenaline that follows, it's also kind of thrilling. It reminds you that this life, this juggling act, it's real and it's alive. Now, for me, these almost slips, they're not just confined to my workplace. I've noticed that a lot more so lately. I've had lots of tiny slips everywhere. They're in texts, emails, jokes, or even a phrase that lands in the wrong room. I'm always aware that one wrong word, one gesture, that can be too revealing. And that's where the tiny cracks start to become visible. Keep this in mind. You are the only one that's really truly aware of what has actually happened. And in retrospect, sometimes it's kind of funny. In the moment, it's definitely overwhelming and stressful, but later on, you'll realize that, dang, I almost did that. What kind of chaos would become of that accidental slip? It's like walking on thin ice, but only you are aware of how fragile that ice is beneath your feet. These cracks, these slips, they remind you that every crack, every world that you live in is just fragile. Fragile, in our experience, is always intimate. It's always terrifyingly human. And at the same time, it's absolutely beautiful. I feel that living a double life is similar to a tightrope. Well, the walk, of course, because every interaction, every smile and word measured, calculated, delivered with precision, if you will. It's exhausting. It really is. But it's also exquisite. You feel the tension in your shoulders, the quiver in your hands. These are the small signatures and reminders of your juggling world. The tightrope isn't just for survival, don't get me wrong. It's grandiose. It's a performance. It's actually a beautifully twisted, kinky art form. You learn to anticipate the cracks, to navigate the wind, and basically You become flexible, you adapt, and you bend without breaking. If you stumble, even just a little bit, you can feel these worlds that are so close together start to collide, even if just for a brief moment, and it's brutal. But in all of that brutality, there is this unspoken beauty that lays within it. While we're talking about the beauty of these things, we need to be honest with ourselves. We can't just pretend it's all anxiety because it isn't. That almost slip for a lot of us, it gives us a surge of adrenaline. It's addictive. Like stepping into a room you know that you shouldn't be in, or saying something dangerously close to true, or almost, for me anyways, actually becoming Nova in a place where Nova has no place. Your body lights up, your senses sharpen. Suddenly, the world feels brighter, more immediate. You're alive in ways that people with one life have absolutely no way of understanding or comprehending. Every almost slip, every tiny crack that reminds you that you've built something extraordinary. You have balanced two worlds. You are continuing to maintain this balance and you're teetering. And as you're doing these things, as stressful and heavy as it may be, you're doing beautifully because you're doing it. And it's amazing. I also want to just take a step back and say that after these almost slips and when these cracks start to show, sometimes it's genuinely funny. I definitely have to admit that I've almost called myself and introduced myself as Nova multiple times at work. This isn't a first time for me. I think the frequency in which it's happening now is scary, but I've been having slips for quite a while now. And yes, in the moment, it's kind of like a stressful thing, but at this point, it just, at the end of my day, I look back at it and I laugh. Yeah, sure. I am screaming and having fire alarms going off in my head in that moment. And as I'm leaving the room, I'm definitely having a little bit of a breakdown. But later on, I laugh at it all. I actually feel a little relieved and a little bit exhilarated. Those cracks, for me, they become stories, antidotes, weapons of my humor, and a learning experience and armor for my next slip up. Humor, for me, is the glue that keeps my mask intact. Because without it, I feel like these cracks would just gnaw at me endlessly. If I didn't have something to help me get through this type of stress, I don't think I could survive. I'm not sure about the rest of you, but I definitely have anxiety. I have a lot of anxiety, and these cracks, these slips, definitely amplify my anxiety. I become hyper aware. I'm measuring every single word, my body language, my movement, my glances, and it becomes exhausting. This constant vigilance literally just fills me with such tension that I feel like I can't breathe. I feel like I go into survival mode, even. Sometimes I have dreams. I dream of a place where wearing the mask at work becomes unnecessary, where I can live as one person with one name and basically be a combination of myself with myself. These cracks, they're inevitable, but it's just the architecture of the life that I live, my double life. All of these cracks, they're mirrors. All of these cracks, they reflect the truth. They show tension between who I am and who the world thinks that I am. They reveal desire, shame, strength, and fear. I am going to be completely honest. I don't really feel the same shame or any shame at this point. I don't honestly think I feel shame anymore because I've truly embraced who I am, and I accept that I have different versions of myself for different places, and that is just what has to happen. And the more that I've embraced myself, the more that I've learned about myself and fallen in love with myself, there's no room for shame. There's no more shame. But I understand for a lot of people that have to wear masks, they have unbearable shame, and that makes me feel bad for them. Every crack, as inevitable as it may be, is a reminder that you have a double life. We're imperfect and mostly human. Sometimes the reflection that you see is so sharp, you can barely look at it without flinching. But you do, because that's the only way to understand your own complexities. Cracks happen in mundane ways. The wrong name slips, a tone is misjudged, a personal reference that shouldn't be. You freeze, recover, and wonder who noticed. They accumulate, like fine scratches on glass. Subtle, but undeniable. Yet, in their subtlety, they teach lessons about awareness, patience, and of course, the art of concealment. You will learn to anticipate them, to treat them as signals rather than failures. Then there's the digital world. Online personas, social media accounts, private messages. These cracks, they're all waiting for you to misstep. One post, one image, one careless word can expose entire worlds to each other. You craft your online self carefully, aware that each digital footprint can be read in multiple ways. When a crack appears there, it carries a kind of permanence that the physical world doesn't. The stakes are high, and the tension can be constant as well as kind of intoxicating. For those of us who have ADHD, cracks are going to be inevitable because we're struggling. Okay, we're definitely having a higher workload, if you will. Focus drifts, words tumble, and suddenly you've almost revealed more of you than you actually intended. The mask will slip in subtle ways, but unfortunately, when you have ADHD, it's all or nothing. At least in my case, it's all or nothing. And it's very unpredictable. There's always going to be panic, but there's always humor, right? And it's funny. It's funny because, I mean, when it happens, it happens. I'm going to have to figure out how to bounce back. ADHD helps me sharpen my awareness in other ways as well. So I notice a lot more body language. I'm a facial feature person. I see lots of micro signals and tiny little tells and subtle patterns, right? Patterns are huge things for me. Oh my God, let me tell you, I love charts and data, okay? Oh my God, I love it. But I digress. Anyways, having ADHD, in my opinion, has actually helped me to ensure that my mask is survivable, manageable, and it's a thing of beauty. As much as we want to say that these cracks are accidental and tactical in their own way, they're also really emotional. They remind you of vulnerability, of mortality, of the risk inherent of you choosing to live fully. The emotional weight can be heavy. You have your heart that's just pounding in your ears, and it feels like it could just beat out of your chest. There's guilt for some people. And then when nothing happens after this crack, after this slip, nothing happens. There was no blow up. Ah, the amount of relief. This emotional presence, it's your proof of life. It's proof that you and your double life, your triple life, it's authentic. Then that weight becomes something that you carry proudly with you. It isn't just emotional burden, it's an emotional presence, and it helps you grow and feel better. Every crack is a lesson. You learn vigilance, patience, improvisation, right? The subtle art of reading rooms. You learn what's safe to reveal, when to hold back, and how to laugh at yourself in private. The cracks, they become teachers. They guide you through the delicate balance of multiple identities. And with each crack, that mask, it doesn't get weaker. It actually gets stronger, more sophisticated, and even more beautiful than it was before. These cracks, they reveal the true self beneath the performance. They expose everything, desires, fear, the beauty of duality. They show you who you are in quiet and guarded moments, even if it's only to yourself. When you acknowledge them, you should try to celebrate them. You integrate more of yourself into both of your worlds. You become both an artist and an audience of your own duality. That's the paradox. The mask is protective, yet these cracks within them, it defines your authenticity. For some people, they need to keep the worlds completely separate for as long as they live, forever, forever. Others start to weave threads between the two. Cracks, these are the first initial overlaps, the testing of water, if you would, testing the grounds, right? Let's whisper a little bit of what we're doing, right? Just a little bit, just a little bit. Choosing to integrate isn't an easy choice. And for some people, they don't even have the option to make the choice. Being capable and having the ability to mix both of these worlds together, it requires courage, strategy, of course, and a lot of patience. For those people who are capable and able to kind of merge their worlds together, there's such a richness to it. Like savoring the ability to live your authentic self, freedom to go from one place to the next. That's the evolution of a double life. And that's kind of where a lot of people would like to be at the end of all of this. Small reveals matter. A wink, a story, a reference. Tiny breaches of the mask. Again, we're testing the waters. We're learning who we can trust. And when we find those people, we allow these little pieces of the selves that we've hidden away to come to the surface and grab some air. No matter how small these acts are, no matter how minor they are, they're revolutionary. They remind you that your lives, that yourselves, they aren't confined. It's not just static, and they aren't less because they're hidden. They're alive. It's a part of you. It's breathing, and it's evolving into something beautiful. Cracks, they're sparks of joy, laughter at the near misses, exhilaration at almost reveals. They're tiny victories in your navigation of the worlds. They make the double life dynamic unpredictable, but also electric. Without them, the mask would be suffocating and rigid and lifeless. The joy comes from knowing that you're teetering the edge, yet you're still holding your identity intact. These cracks, you need to know that they're going to grow, they're going to widen, and eventually you'll face collapse, exposure, involuntary revelation, these worlds coming together. Are you going to be ready for that? Because it's inevitable. At some point, now, 2 weeks from now, 2 years from now, 20 years from now, they could merge together whether you're ready or not. These cracks, they help prepare you. They teach awareness, resilience. Again, you learn how to bend and be flexible, but you do not break. You navigate without panic. You embrace that vulnerability that you hide, but you also protect what matters. These cracks, as anxiety inducing as they may be right now, they're your survival tools. Learn to embrace them. If and when that moment comes, there's going to be this space in between. And this is where you hold the line. Breathe. Steady yourself. Remind yourself that the mask you wear, it isn't fragile. It's flexible. Each crack, each almost slip up, these are your tools. A whisper from experience. And it's telling you, you got this. You can do this. You will get through this. At that point, your tension's going to lift. Your heart rate is going to slow. And you remember, this double life, it's yours. It's not a trap. It's a gift. It's a dance. Precarious, exhilarating, and somewhat terrifying. But it's beautiful and it's yours. It's in that moment, when you're holding that line, you realize you are both worlds fully. And it's one of the most beautiful things that could ever exist. I've learned to embrace my cracks. And I hope that for you guys that are living in like the same code switching and double life, triple life that I am, I hope that you can too. Well, that's it. That's enough for me today. I wanted to share my near expose in my vanilla life and get that off my chest. I mean, at the time it was horrible and I was stressed out and I still feel stupid. But now it's just funny. I'm definitely laughing at that. Thank you for tuning in to This Is Why I'm Not Invited. I'm the one and only Nova Nebula. Take care, be safe, and see you soon.